Meet Hornet, a humble, friendly, peaceful little bug.
Hakana Sagamos.
Until threatened. Have you ever wondered what Silksong would be like a Super Nintendo game? And in my last video, I recreated Hollow Knight as a scuffed pixel art version, so why not recreate the sequel as well, Silksong? Silksong was first announced in 2019, and boy have we waited. Well, I'm tired of waiting. So I decided to take the matter in my own hands and build it myself. But where to start? I don't know enough about the game to create it. It was time to get the old pen and paper out. Yeah, I was desperate. And man have I studied. The long nights, gathering information, watching Mossbag, Relia, Fireborn for hundreds and hundreds of hours, tried to squeeze out every little drop of information I could get my hands on. And did it help? No, not really. Well, it helped a little. But I mostly ended up just looking at some gameplay of a demo from a few years ago and then just winged it from there. As I mentioned earlier, I have already created the first Hollow Knight and I think I did a pretty flexible system for me to build forward on. Just copy paste the project and open it up in Unity. I'm just kidding, it worked fine, just a few bugs. I now have a working copy of the Hollow remake. I do need to create some new art for the game, like the player and the environment. So let's see how that goes. So the first thing I created was obviously Hornet. I created an idle, running and jumping animation, and then also a bit of the environment to have as a small testing area. Then I continued with the attack animations. It turned out pretty okay, feels a little more powerful than the knight's attacks. Now that we have a working game and have the basics done, it's time to start with the new functions, the fun things.
This is where the fun begins.
And the first thing I worked on is the ledge grab. Should be pretty easy. All I need to do is calculate where the grab can happen by adding two lines like this, and when there is a corner in between those lines, I can ledge grab. Not sure if this is the best way to do this, but it works. Here you can see, kinda working. I do fall through the ground occasionally, but with a few small tweaks, it now works fine. Maybe not exactly like the trailer, but hey, it's a remake after all. To make it look a little prettier, I made this subtle rain effect and these floating particles. Cause why not? The next thing I wanted to add is the possibility to restart the player if I get killed, and be able to spawn the player at spawn points if falling into spikes and stuff like that. And let's just say, it did not go well. I did get the screen switching working properly though. And with that done, I moved on with my life and started with the next task. Next up was to add a few enemies. I choose just to add two types of enemies. And that's the two in the starting area of Moss Grotto. This one and also this one. And yet again, my animations are, well, questionable. And here you can see them in the game working properly. I'm not sure if you will be able to pogo the same way in Silksong as you did in Hollow Knight. In the trailers, it looks like you can do some kind of aerial downwards attack and bounce you up a little bit. And according to my notes, you remember from earlier, regular needle attacks changes based on this UI thing. But I don't have time to do that, so let's just go with the first aerial pogo attack thing. I had some technical issues, as you can see, but eventually everything worked out fine. I also made this flip animation, basically just a colorful ball, but I think it works. I could not resist to add the regular pogo as well, because it's so much fun, so now you can do these two different pogos. Amazing. Hornet seems to have a similar ability as the Knight's, Focus. The main difference are the Focus ability heals 1 health and Hornet's heal ability heals you fully. And of course the visuals. What was the next thing to work on? I can't say I was 100% sure how to make the silk particle effect. I tried using Unity's particle system, but eventually I gave up on that and made an animation in Sprite instead. And as long as I'm working on some visual effects, I also added this hit effect to the enemies. It's supposed to be silk, I guess. Also changed the currency. In the later trailer, we can see that the currency seems to be this red ball thing. So I made the currency look like that. Then I moved on to something completely different, and that was to add a main menu for the game. I have no idea how the main menu will look, so I started with the text and simply took a picture from the original title, shrank it down to get this pixelated result. I also got a few comments about name in the previous video, and I think hollowknight is a pretty fitting name. I took some inspiration from the original hollowknight and tweaked a few colors here and there, and this is what I came up with. So here's the finished main menu. Quite simple, but I think it's pretty clean and works. This small little project is coming to an end, but I still have to create a boss fight. So I started expand area to match the Moss Grotto area. And at the end of this area, the boss fight will happen. Also in the demo we can see this boss in the Moss Grotto. This boss seems to have 3 states. The idle state, an attack player state, and a state where the boss go up in the roof and enemy or spikes fall down. But let's start with the art first. So, as usual, the art turned out amazing. So it's time to dive into the first boss state, the idle state. Super simple, just make the boss fly around randomly in the room. Done. The second state, make the boss wait a few seconds, turn to the player, go down to the floor and then straight to the player. And honestly, I could have put a little more effort into this one because the original looks so much smoother than mine. But anyways, the second state, done. Third and final state is just to make the boss fly up in the roof and add an object in the roof with a collider and a few spawn points. And if the boss collides with it at a certain speed, just spawn some enemies. Done. I could have added some spikes as well, but I thought it was more fun just to spawn a lot of enemies. It's a bit harder as well. I cleaned it up a bit and added some visuals to make it look a little bit better. And there you have it, Silksong. It's super scuffed, but I did what I could with the information I had. Probably won't be a second part of this video anytime soon, and mainly because the original is not out and I have no idea how to proceed. But who knows, maybe in the future. So anyways, here we have me trying to beat my own game. I failed miserably the first time. Have a good one, bye!